Hello, I'm Kelly and welcome to my channel Animal Instinct. It is Monday the 28th of December 2020 today, and I'm here for my end of year 2020 WIP Parade. So looking forward to going through everything and seeing how much progress or lack thereof I've made on various projects. Before I get started, cats will not be making an appearance. Reggie's in time out in my bedroom and Jemima chose to go down there too with him. He has destroyed my tablet charger. So as soon as I finish filming, I need to go and see if I can find a new one because I don't want the battery to die. I need it for Pattern Keeper. Anyway, I had a look through last year's WIP Parade, which was the first one I'd done, and the first one I'd done. And I showed 22 WIPs in that video, and I said that there was too many. This year, I'm going to be sharing 42 WIPs. I had 51 new starts this year, which is crazy. But I also had 41 finishes. So most of those were smalls that were actually started this year, and I'm going to film a separate video going through what I've actually managed to finish this year. I'm just referring to my notes, sorry. So yeah, I'll go through in chronological order of starting date, and I'll show the WIP where it is now, and if I've got a picture from last year, I'll pop that in too. I also kept track of the number of days I worked on the WIP. And I'll mention that, but a day is a pretty loose term. It could be anywhere from 10 minutes to 7 hours, probably somewhere in the middle. The other thing I just wanted to mention before I start is that I'm going to be participating in WIPGO next year. So lots of people are talking about WIPGO on Flosstube at the moment, but on the off chance that you haven't heard of it, it's a group run by Jessie Marie. You can find it on Facebook, WIPGO 2021. You set up a bingo board, pop your WIPs into all the squares, make a goal for those WIPs, and then shoot calls to numbers every month. And they are sort of focus pieces that you're working towards those goals on that month. I think once you've met the goal, you can cross off the box and then you can aim for a WIPGO or a bingo. Let's see, my goal is fairly arbitrary because I wasn't really sure what to do. I've just said I want to work 21 hours on the piece because it's 2021. And I'll try and get that done in the month that it's cold, but if not, that's okay too. But I do want to get it done by the end of the year. As I go through the WIPs, I'll let you know what's on my WIPGO board. And I've also set some year-long goals for other pieces. If you're interested in thinking about setting goals, I highly recommend finding Kim Hollenbach's recent video. She did a great job of explaining how she sets her goals using a SMART concept. I don't know why I hadn't really thought to do that to a hobby. I use that for work and in my sort of personal life, I guess, but hadn't thought to use it with cross stitch. But that was really helpful, setting sort of meaningful goals that are achievable, and then you get a sense of achievement when you do actually tick them off. So I'll mention those too. I do just quickly have my Ort jar for 2020 here. It's just about full, so a few more days to go. I have another empty gin bottle lined up for next year. All right. Number 1 is Pansies by Thea Taya Governor. This was started in 2012-ish. It's on a 28 count antique white linen, stitched 1/2, so it's very light coverage. And I only put 1 day of stitching into it this year in Mania. That's where it is. This is the only piece with sticky tape along the edges. Number 2 is Coastal by Gecko Rouge, artwork by Roseanne Bell. This was started in November 2017. It was the piece that got me back into stitching this time around, I guess, and you know, I've never looked back since I started it. I just googled modern cross stitch and found Gecko Rouge and then found this piece. I stitched on it again for one day during Mania this year. I've done over 7 pages of it. There's about 42 in the whole thing. So there we are now. My goal for next year is to actually stitch on it for 5 days. Next is Memories of Wales, Beaumaris Castle. I don't really know how to pronounce that. This is a gift from my mum. It's a Welsh castle. And I've only put 1 day into it this year again in Mania. It's one that eventually I'll get there. Okay. Next is Into the Jungle by the Frosted Pumpkin. I started this sometime in 2018, I think. It's on 28 count Lugana Fall 2 Pieces by Colour Cascade Fabrics. I stitched on it for 12 days actually this year. It's just, I don't know why I don't just finish it. I just need to finish the 2 animals and the banner at the top and it's done, but it just never calls to me ever. Anyway, there's a few like that, unfortunately. Nothing against them, I think other things get my attention. Next is Brooke's Books Wonderland series. She has 12 characters. I'm going to do them all together. That's Alice, and that's who I've started with. It's on 28 count Lugana in Silver Springs, Opal Lugana. Oh, Flosstube itchy face. By Colour Cascade Fabrics again. I'm using DMC 2/2. This also only got 1 day this year. It's like my old WIPs are getting tossed aside. It's not good enough because I do want to finish them. Next is Long Dog Samplers The Pilgrim. I'll pop a photo in, I don't have that. This is being stitched on 36 count platinum linen, 1/2 with Silks For You PR011. And this is where we're at. I stitched 11 days on this. I always pull it out in February. 11 days. I'd actually like to finish 2 pages next year. Next up is Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. By Carriage House Samplings. It's on 32 count Jobelin, Angel of the Morning. I'm doing it 2/2 in DMC. This is where I got to. I started this one 2018 sometime, I think. So it's terrible. I've hardly done anything. It got 2 whole days this year. And I've set myself a pretty low, I've set the bar low for the goal on this one. I just want to finish that first block. I love it, so there's no reason why I shouldn't be working on it more, but at the moment, other things are winning. Okay, next up is Story Time, a Gecko Rouge kit. Artwork by Zazak Namu, now goes by Aruda Art. I started this one on Christmas birthday 2018, but then I didn't really touch it for a whole year. So an 18 count aider using 2 strands of floss. I stitched on it for 15 days this year, put in 6,500 stitches, and I'd like to get 10,000 stitches next year, and it's on my WIPGO board. And actually I just forgot, the Pilgrim is also on my WIPGO board. Next is Firefly by Jenny Parks, a Gecko Rouge kit, my massive kit. I started this one on the 1st of March 2019 when I was convalescing after foot surgery. Probably shouldn't have started it when I was on quite strong pain relief, but didn't seem to make a mistake, so that's pretty amazing. So it's 25 count Lugana, 1/1 full crosses. I've done 16,000 stitches this year, which takes me to 3.6% done. I've stitched on it for 27 days and I'd like to put in at least 25,000 stitches next year. This is where we're at. So I'm coming down to do his jacket next. That's on my, I think it's on my WIPGO. I can't remember because I'm going to be working on him regardless, Okay, next up is Gabrielle. This was a freebie I got with a Christmas kit from Gecko Rouge a few years ago. I started it sometime last year. I went away on a conference and I thought it'd be a good travel stitching piece. And I'm stitching it on the aider it came with. I think it's 14 count. I think it was hand dyed by Gecko Rouge. That's where I'm at. I've only had 1 day on it. It's pretty simple stitching. It's cute. So, you know, again, should put more time and effort into that. Next is The Plague Doctor by Busby Designs. You can find them on Etsy. That's what it will look like. I actually have this in Pattern Keeper now. So I started this June last year. It's on 28 count opal casual linen. Oops. It's Rhubarb and Custard by Chromatic Alchemy. And that's what I've done. I worked on it for 7 days. It's 1/1 stitching. It's really hard going. It's more like 30 count. But, you know, this would have been the year to finish it. Oh well. We've got Trade Winds by Teresa Wensler. I love this one. Trade Winds. I started in September 2019. I'm doing it on 32 count antique white linen using the called for DMC. I worked on it for 5 days this year and I'd like to work on it for 10 next year. It's on my WIPGO board. Oops, a little bit more. There we go. That is what I've done. Next is Hands Across the Sea, the Old Scott. Started on the 4th of October last year. Had a flurry of starts at the end of last year. I'm stitching it on 40 count ivory linen using the Soy Dauge silks. And I only put 3 days into it. And I don't think I'd done too much before that. This is where we're at. Oops. So my goals for this year is, it's in my WIPGO board and it's actually been called for January. So I'll be working on it very soon. So I definitely will be putting in 21 hours, but I'd also like to finish the thistle border this year. So I think this is about halfway. So if I've only worked on it for 3 days so far, maybe 4, because I would have done a little bit last year. I think that is hopefully achievable. Next is Snort Stack by Palm Street Samplers. I don't know what my problem is with this one. This one. I started it on the 12th of October last year. I'm doing it on 36 count natural linen with all the cold for floss. I've done the cow one next to it. It never ever calls to me. So I've only done that much. I did 1 day during Mania, that's it. However, this is on my WIPGO board and it'll get 21 hours. Next is another Gecko Rouge piece. It's Only Forever, artwork by Medusa Dollmaker, based on the labyrinth. This one is being stitched on 18 count Ada by Jody Redesigns in her Galaxy colorway. I only put 1 day into this year. It was supposed to be in Mania, but I couldn't find the page of the pattern I was working on. I did find it later. So it didn't actually get touched in Mania. I just put a few stitches in recently, but love the colours. Just haven't got too far into that one. I started that on the 12th of October last year. Then we have my Taj Mahal Garden Mandala Chatelaine. I started this one on the 19th of October 2019. I'm doing it on 32 count Belfast linen in black. And I've put 3 days into it this year. My goal for next year is to put 10 days into it. That's where we're at now. Right, next one is my Mirabilia. This one is pretty shameful, really. So it's the Queen Mermaid. Stitching it on 32 count Lugana. It's called When Mermaids Cry by Colour Cascade Fabrics. Using DMC or all the called for, where is it? I haven't put too much into this 1 day. I don't know why this one doesn't call to me. Love the fabric, love the pattern, never seem to stitch on it. I think it's had 2 days total since I started it in November last year. So, and it's not on my WIPGO board. It didn't make the cut. Next is another one which I don't know why I'm not making progress or stitching on it. I really like it. It's the Cat Sampler by Heartstring Samplery. Started on the 19th of November last year. It's on 40 count Picture This Plus Legacy, using the cold for floss, and it only got 2 days this year. That is where we're at. And that is also not on my WIPGO board for next year. Now I've let Jemima out, so I think she's coming to say hello. Are you? Here is poor, long, suffering Jemima. Yep. There you go, go away. She's just gone to sit on all my WIPs. Not quite what I had in mind. Next is another Gecko Rouge piece. I love this one. This is mugshot of a cat felon arrested while attempting a New York bank heist. Artwork by Tanya Bond. It's on 25 count, 1/1 Lugana. I started this on the 23rd of November last year and I put 6 days into it. And I put 4,000 stitches into it. So I'm almost 20% done on this one. No, please don't eat the cord. That's what your brother does, not you. My goal is 10,000 stitches next year. Go away, now she's eating the tripod. Oh, this is great. And it's on my WIPGO board and it's been called for January. So this one and the old Scott will be coming up. We're really looking forward to those. Next, I think we're up to the 20th WIP. This is Autumn Kitty. I'm not sure of the designer. This one's being stitched on 16 count Aida and 2 strands of thread. I only put 1 day into this one during Mania, but I really like it. You can see the cat coming along. This is in my WIPGO board, so I'll be putting at least 21 hours into it next year. Right, we're getting there. We're over halfway. We're almost halfway. Number 21 is Joan Elliott's The Time Traveller. This one was started on the 28th of December. Oh, so today, a year ago. I put 9 days of stitching into it. It's on my WIPGO board, so it'll get 21 hours. I've also set another goal where I'd like to do 20 days because I stitched on it for 9 days this year and I'd like to do more. It's on 32 count Belfast linen Gothic by Picture This Plus, and this one's always hard to show up. It's darker than how it appears on camera. This is a much darker colour. That's where we're at. Love this one. Okay, some rearranging required. Right. Next is one that I show all the time, and it is my Temperature Tree by Sarah Hughes Stitching Mummy. And we're so close to a finish. So it's on 32 count, I think it is, brown linen. I think that is Christmas Day, so I've got, what, 6 days to go and then it's all finished. I'm still deciding if I include a little temperature scale or key on there. I might do that, I'm not sure yet. But we're just about done. Okay, now we're into starts in 2020. So my first one, I'm a little bit sad about this. This is Modern Folk Embroidery 2020 stitch along. I did put 19 days of effort into this one and I love it. It's just one of those ones where other things have called me more. So I'm very keen to continue on and finish it. I just haven't done a huge amount. It's being stitched on 40 count antique white linen, 1/2, using Silks For You PR 023 3. Oops. So, sorry, I've got the sulky sliver in as gridding and I wasn't sure if you can iron safely over that, so that's why that one's rather creased. So yes, I put 19 days in. I'd actually like to get 3 months worth finished. I think I finished January, so 2 more months next year, and it's a WIPGO piece too. So it'll definitely get 21 hours or more. This is also a little bit of a shame. This is Lindy Stitches. There's no place like home except Grandma's. I'm changing the colours to be like my parents' house, and they call themselves to their grandkids Nan and Pa. So it'll be There's No Place Like Home except Nan and Pa's. I really have done barely anything on this, unfortunately. I don't know why. I'm doing it on 32 count cream Lugana 2/2. Started the roof. They've got a grey roof and they've got a red brick home with sandstone blocks as well. I'm trying to make it more like their home, and they've just redone all their front garden, so I'm going to try and put some of those details into. Next one, so that was started on 25th of February this year. Next up is the Blue Flower Night Walked Down. This was my leap day, leap year new start, and I was doing it with a stitch along with Deb Wilson, who didn't have, I can't remember if it was the fabric or the floss on the 29th, so she didn't actually start that day. However, she's finished it. And I have done not a whole lot. So this is being stitched on 32 count even weave in Mulberries and Cream by Jay's X Stitch, and I'm just using a variety of my own flosses. That's what I've done. This one is on my WIPGO board. I only put 3 days into it, so it's had 3 days total work. So it would definitely get 21 hours, and I'd also set a goal of 5 days. We'll see. Another one I like. There's no reason why I'm not working on it. Next is another one that I just haven't put as much time into as I would have thought. It is the Tiny Modernists Biscornu of the Month. I haven't even finished the first one, so I got all 12 of these this year. And again, nothing wrong with them, I like them, they haven't been calling to me. So I have started the first one, which is the elephant. I started it on the 10th of March. It's on 32 count antique white linen, using the called for DMC. I put 4 days of effort into it. Doesn't look like it. They must have been 4 short days. I finished one elephant, so that kind of needs to be replicated 4 times, plus the back. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that one. Okay, oops, sorry, crinkle, crinkle. I'm leaving the fabric out because I'm going to take a photo of each of them, so I've got a record of where they were this time this year. And I keep putting them back in the project bag. Anyway, we'll get there. Next is a piece I bought for my birthday, but I didn't get started until 22nd of March. Love this one. It is Mermaid's Folly by Courtney Collection. This is definitely on my WIPGO board. I put 7 days into it this year. It's being stitched on 40 count Picture This Plus linen in Murky. think I said I put 7 days into it. I'm stitching it with DMC 3371, 1 strand over 2. And that is where we're at. So it's on my WIPGO board, so 21 hours, but I've also set a goal of 15 days worth. So I should get sort of double that again, at least. Right, next is Anzac by Long Dog Samplers. This is being stitched on 28 count even weave coffee and tea dyed by me. I'm using, for the main colour, I'm using Silks For You PR 124, which is, I'm not going to take it out of the bag, but it's like navy purple and sort of dark teal. I started this on Anzac Day, so 25th of April this year. I've only put 4 days into it, but it stitches up pretty quickly. So I've made it across the top. Let's see. There we go. So my goal next year, as well as it being a WIPGO piece, is 10 days. Okay, next is another Gecko Rouge piece. If you haven't watched my videos before, I was in Gecko Rouge's Gold Club for a while, so you're basically putting like lay-bys, I guess, with and getting discount on their kits. So I have a bit of a stash of Gecko Rouge kits. I'm not in the Gold Club anymore, but I've got heaps of fantastic kits to work on. This is Atomic Garden 149 artwork by Carissa Rose. I thought it was a pretty good one for this year. It's on 25 count, 1/1. I started this on the 18th of June this year. It's actually the day I found out someone close to me had a horrible diagnosis. I'll just leave it at that. Just a really, really horrible day. Just add it to the rest of 2020. So this is where I am at. I put 8 days of work into this and I got 3,200 stitches done. I'm at 4%. So my goal for next year, it is a WIPGO piece, and I'd like to get 5,000 stitches in. Okay, next up is Ink Circles Woodland Vines. I started this on the 21st of June 2020. I'm stitching it on 20 count Ada. It's Red Passion by XG Designs. And I'm stitching it with 3756, DMC 3756. 1 strand for the cross. It looks so good. That is only 6 days of stitching. It's 4,800 stitches and I'm 27% done, so I'm a quarter of the way through. It's a WIPGO piece and it's also down for 10 days this year or next year. So really that could get me 3/4 of the way done potentially. It's nice just stitching in one strand of thread, one colour, goes really quickly. You just have to pay attention. It does work in Pattern Keeper, which is brilliant. Next is Mini Contessa and Squid by Haid, or artwork by Omar Rayan, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. There's a picture of her. doing the mini version. I started on the 17th of October. I'm stitching it on 28 count easy count Lugana, 1/1 full crosses. I've only put 4 days work into this one so far. I've done 2,500 stitches and I'm sitting at 3%. So there she is, looking a bit spooky, but a little bit closer. So she's on my WIPGO board. I want to put 5,000 stitches into her as well as the 21 hours. So if either of those don't quite add up, I'll make them work. Next is Twin Peaks by Country Magic Stitch on Etsy. Started this one on the 8th of November 2020. It's also on 28 count easy count Lugana, same as Contessa. However, this one's being stitched with 2 strands of floss, 2/1, yes, 10th stitch. I've only made a small start, but that is 3 days worth. It's on my WIPGO board, so I'd like to get 21 hours in. I'd also like to get 5,000 stitches, same as Mini Contessa. Sounds like it's raining. Next is Quiet Please. I'm not entirely sure who this is by. You can find it free on needlepress.blogspot.com. I started this on the 20th of November. I just put a very short amount of time in it on one day. I'm stitching it on 32 count Belfast linen in chalkboard by XG Designs. And I'm using the Sulky 12 weight. It's 4010. So 1 strand of Sulky over 2. Sorry, it's got fluff on it. I've done a tiny little start. The chalkboard is darker than it's showing. That's on my WIPGO board, so I should get 21 hours into that next year. Next is Kathy Barrick's Moths, I've just called it. I'm doing 2 of her moth pieces. On the 1 piece of fabric. So I'm starting with BR's moth. And then HL's moth will go underneath, kind of like a museum piece. I've also only put not much into this at all, but really enjoyed what I did put in, so I'm looking forward to working on this. Stitching it on 32 count Desert Sand by XG Designs. It's linen, yep, Belfast linen. Using DMC 2/1, 2/2 even. Yeah, so I only put in one day. It was a very short amount of time. But it's on my WIPGO board, so it will be up for 21 hours in the new year. Love that colour fabric. Okay, we're almost there. I think this is number 35. This is Dimensions collection. Dimensions, sorry, I've lost my words. Gold Collection Petites Napping Kitten by Debbie Cook. So it's the kit. Oh, I've got my Flosstube itchy nose again. I started this on the 23rd of November. That was the week that I was home when I should have been away on holidays, and I had to come home unexpectedly, so I just started everything. It's on 18 count Aida. I put 2 days of work into this. That's what I've done. And it's on my WIPGO board for next year, so as well as 21 hours, it also has the 5,000 stitch goal. Okay, and number 36 is the Cricket Scene by the John Clayton collection. This is an old piece that I'm restarting after my mum started it 25 years ago maybe. I'm stitching it on 32 count antique white linen using the called for DMC. It's just had one day of work put into it this year. Yeah. So it's on my WIPGO board and it's down for 21 hours again, obviously, and five days is what I put down for it. I really want to get 5 decent days of work on it. Okay, my last active WIP, well, it's barely even a start to be honest, is, and I don't think I've actually showed this, it's Modern Folk Embroidery, the Zimmerman coverlet. So it's based on an heirloom piece in Ellen Reed in her family. And Jakob from Modern Folk Embroidery has charted it up. I'm stitching it on 56 count green apple linen from XG Designs, and I'm using Cottage Garden threads. It's called Blackwood. It's kind of a variegated rusty brown. And I made a tiny start on this a few weeks ago in December. So I'm using it, I'm just stitching 1/2. 1/2. So on 56 count, it's like stitching 1/1 on 28 count fabric. They're tiny. I made a tiny start. I don't think that's in focus, but oh well, you can barely see it. Tiny little crosses, but they sit well. So yeah, so my goal, that's not on my WIPGO board, but my goal is to finish half a page. I'm going to do the repeat once. So just one version. I'm not going to repeat anything. And I think it's 3 pages worth. So I'll aim to do, yeah, get half a page done. It's pretty slow going because it's tiny fabric. Okay, so then all of my active WIPs. I still have 1, 2, 3, 4 more that are going to be started very soon. So I just wanted to include them here. So the first one, it's not a whole lot to show because I haven't started any of these. It's called Sunny Beach. I'll pop the details in here. I can't remember what the store name was. And I'll pop a photo in. It is a beautiful picture of a Thai beach and the boat tied up there. And I just saw it and it took me straight back to Thailand and also the Philippines and Indonesia. On my travels, we did lots of beach days and snorkeling days where you'd go out on a boat and you'd kind of island hop and just swim and relax, and it was brilliant. I loved it. So as soon as I saw that, I wanted to start it. Actually, the really good thing about this is because I wasn't familiar, I guess, with her store before. And so I was, you know, a little bit hesitant just because I didn't know what sort of quality the kit would be. But she's actually got photos of a finished piece, a finished stitched piece on there, not just a digital mock-up. So that just, yeah, I knew that it was going to look beautiful. It's really interesting how she's sort of been able to keep the detail fairly loose, like it's not really highly detailed, but she's, by adding in backstitch just into that boat, it brings it into focus. I thought that was really clever. What else was I going to say about it? It's got some blends in it, especially in the sky, so I definitely needed to stitch it on something where I could use 2 strands for my crosses. What I've done is I've gone and got 16 count easy count Aida, just to make it really easy. And I've just put my up arrow and just marked the top left corner of the piece. So when I load it into my Q-snap, there's no way I can accidentally flip it the wrong way, because I know that that arrow goes up. And I'm actually hopefully going to start this today. I'm really, really excited. It was supposed to be a New Year's Eve new start, because I already have something planned for New Year's Day, but I just can't wait. So this is going to happen today. Then we've got the Cross Stitch Studios full coverage mystery stitch along. Don't know what I'm getting myself into, but anyway, it's themed wildlife, so I don't think it can go wrong. I don't think I'll be disappointed. Even if wildlife is plants, I'm sure it'll be fine. It's kind of fun to have such a big mystery. The pattern drops at New Year's, or at midnight on the 31st or the 1st, that evening. New York time, which I think is about 3:30 p.m. my time on the 1st. So I have everything ready to go. I'm going to start as soon as the pattern drops. So I'm going to stitch it on 28 count easy count, the same as I'm stitching my Contessa and also my Twin Peaks. I'm going to be stitching it in tent stitch using 2 strands of floss over 1 strand of fabric. And I've already marked up the starting point, and again the arrow, I do that for all my pieces, so yeah, there's no way I'll flip it around the wrong way. So Sunny Beach, the other one, that is on my WIPGO board, so 21 hours, but I'm also setting myself a goal of 10,000 stitches. This one is also on my WIPGO board, so 21 hours. However, a few other things I'm trying to do with this one. There's no way I'll catch up or keep up. It's 1 page is released every month for 16 months. With all my other WIPs, like there's no way I'm going to dedicate all the time needed to keep up with it, but that's all right. In January, they actually have their own sort of challenge, I guess, where you nominate a piece of theirs and you stitch on it for a minimum of 30 minutes every day. So I'm going to do that with this one. And then after that, I'm just going to try and get 4 days every month to put some stitches in, just to keep the momentum going. All right, then we have another sort of stitch along. It's the Temperature Typography piece by Sarah the Stitchin' Mummy. I won't be able to start until I've got the maximum temperature from January the 1st, which probably won't come out until January the 2nd. I'm going to stitch it on this 25 count pewter Lugana. It's kind of a silvery grey. I'm going to stitch it 1 over 1 full crosses, and I've shown them before, but I may as well just pull them out. These beautiful colours. What else did I want to say? Oh, I've also got this one ready to go as well. I've just marked the top left corner of the piece, and I know it's up because the selvage is up. So yeah, really looking forward to that. I've got 2 more. This one, I didn't know whether to call this a WIP or a new start, but it's the Joyful World series by the Snowflower Diaries. You can find these for free on their blog. I'm stitching 1 one a month in its own month. They're all on 18 count Ada, either Picture This Plus Heartland or Vintage Country Mocha. Andrea. So I've already done 4. I've done September, October, November, December. So just as a reminder, that's what they look like. But I'm going to call each month a finish just because why not? So my January one hasn't started yet, but that will be started in the first week of January, I'm pretty sure. And I'm at the last one. So this is, I did actually forget to put this in. I've added this in after. Lindy Stitches is coming out with her Stitch Along Funky Menagerie. I mean, it's perfect for me and my channel and everything that I love about stitching and her patterns. So I'm stitching, I think her pattern drops, I think it's her time on the 31st, which will probably be the first here. I'm fairly sure I'm going to use this really cool sparkly fabric, 32 count even weave, Colours of Australia. It might be called Fairy Floss. I think Colours of Australia might be the range, not really sure, from Sew It All. I just need to do a floss toss and make sure that that's going to work. But that is what I'm planning. Okay, so that's it. 42 WIPs going into 2021 as opposed to 22 going into 2020. Whoops. I hope you've enjoyed that. I love seeing everyone's WIP parades and I can't wait to watch lots in the coming days. Watch out for my finish parade that I hope to film tomorrow. I hope you're all well. I hope you've had as an enjoyable festive season as is possible. I know certainly in some parts of the world it's very, very different to normal. So my thoughts are with you all. We're almost to the end, so I look forward to continuing my channel and stitching along with you all in 2021. See ya.